Welcome back to the Mike and Andrew Show. I'm Andrew Serwick here again with Mike Meredith. Mike, how you doing this evening, man?
Doing pretty good, man.
That's
Good
good.
weekend.
Oh yeah, especially if you're a Red Wings fan, man. Um, it was a very good weekend, but we're gonna do um some things, a couple different things today. We're just gonna talk. Mostly baseball today, of course. We'll get into some football things, just some minor stories, and of course, we have the NFL Combine starting today here in Indy, actually, for me. So downtown was a little crazy today for sure, but let's get into it here. We're gonna start with baseball, and uh, this article came out about 5 days ago, so it's a little bit outdated. There's been some additions to a few teams since then, but this is from USA Today. It's just a power ranking. Well, not power ranking, but it's just a ranking for every single team, or grading for every single team, and basically we'll just about their offseason acquisitions, trades, things like that. So we're gonna get into. We'll go over all 30 teams here. We're just kind of gonna. Basically, I'll gloss over all the important signings that they had, what they gave them the grade, and we'll quickly discuss if we agree with that grade or not. So let's start with the AL East. Baltimore Orioles, they gave them a A minus. They got Corbin Burns, and yeah, that was basically their biggest move this offseason, and obviously that's going to help their pitching rotation a ton. I like this grade. This was a really good offseason, I think, overall for the Orioles. So, but landing Corbin Burns, man, that was huge for them.
Yeah, that was. Even though they only made one move, that was probably one of, if not the biggest move of the off season. Well, of course, not counting free agents, but off just trades. I think that's probably the best player they got traded in the off season. Man, they already have so much young talent. They won over 100 games last year. Now to bolster their pitching, I'd give them an A plus, to be honest with you.
I honestly would too. And the great part about that trade too is they didn't have to give up any of their top 100 prospects. So, um, well, their group of top 100 prospects that they have there, man. So that was a huge trade and a big W for them. The Boston Red Sox, they get a D here. Basically, their biggest signing was Yoshinobu. I can't even fucking say it. Yoshinobu
No, no,
Yamamoto. Um,
no, he went to the
oh,
Dodgers.
did he? Did he? Okay, okay.
They
Yeah,
tried to get him.
yeah, yeah.
They tried to
That's
get
right.
him because
That's right.
they have Masataka Yoshida, who's another Japanese player. But yeah, they didn't do much this
No,
offseason.
they didn't. I'd give them an F, not even a D here.
Yeah, dude, the AL East is so stacked, and they didn't make any moves. Honestly, I think Boston might finish last in that division. They got a solid team. It's just you got to make moves when the Orioles are getting Corbin Burns. We'll touch on the Yankees getting Juan Soto. Like, uh, just all the other teams in that division improved, and you didn't do nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of the Yankees, they gave them here a B plus. Obviously, Juan Soto is their biggest, um, acquisition that they made in the offseason. Um, it was, I think it was a good trade overall, but given what the Yankees were working with to try and get him, they didn't really get, or they gave up a little bit too much value. But again, you were getting Juan Soto, so I mean,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
he's
So
a top 10 player in
right,
baseball.
right. So that's why it's like I get it. It's a B plus overall because of what you had to give up, but you still got Juan Soto. It's a good deal. I like that grade at a B plus there.
Yeah, I think so as well. Maybe A minus, but it just depends. They did give up a good haul for Soto, but Soto, he's still super young. I don't even know if he's 25 yet. He's still so young. He could be a Yankee for many years to come. So just to get him, and he's like I said, just so young and has a lot of years left. think it's solid, man. So was a really good player. Yankees probably. It's so tough to predict where they're going to finish. I definitely think they'll be better than the Red Sox this year. Don't know. I don't think they'll be as good as the Orioles. I think they'll finish somewhere in the middle. I think probably three in that division, third place.
Yeah, because I see Tampa Bay, despite having a smaller offseason than what the Yankees did in terms of powerful acquisitions, they still had a really good offseason here. I think Tampa Bay and Baltimore, you can honestly put either one at 1 or 2 in your predictions, and you won't really hear many arguments there. But the Tampa Bay Rays, they got a B for this one. They traded, Tyler Glasnow. They picked up Johnny DeLuca and Manuel Margot, to replace Manuel Margot. My bad. And that's gonna help with their outfield depth for sure. It wasn't a terrible offseason for the Rays, but it definitely could have been a lot more. But they kind of like where the Yankees didn't have a ton to work with in terms of being able to trade anyone. But what they were able to get seems like a pretty decent offseason to me for Tampa.
Yeah, I think so as well. They did a little bit. They did more than Boston, but not as much as like New York or Baltimore. So I agree. I think they'll probably finish second in that division, just because they always overachieve. It seems like they always seem to win a lot of games. So I think that they're going to be still a very strong team and probably a playoff team as well.
Yeah, I think they will be in the playoff team. I don't see them winning this division this year. I kind of see it being like last year. They're going to lead for most of, the first half of the season and then just kind of slowly let Baltimore catch up. And then here for the last team of the AL East, we have the Toronto Blue Jays. They have them as a C. Not a really big, wild, off season for them. Biggest pickups for them was Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and Justin Turner. And they picked up Daniel Vogelback too, which is he's on a minor league deal though. But yeah, overall Toronto nothing too flashy, but they did make some acquisitions that should, in general, or at least in theory, make them a little bit better this year.
Yeah. So Toronto, it's tough because I think they're probably the fourth best team, but they still have a really good team. They still got a lot of good players. I mean, Vlad Jr. is one of the best in baseball. He's been one of the best home run hitters. Bo Bichette's really great. Still got a lot of young talent, decent pitching staff. Just like I said, that division is just so tough that it's really tough to compete. So, I think they'll probably be fighting for a wild card spot, and we'll see if they can make it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do this year for sure. Moving to AL Central, this is probably the most mid division in all of baseball, and looking at all these grades, the highest grade here is a B. Everyone else is a C or a C minus in this division. So yeah, let's get into that though. First one here, the Chicago White Sox, a C minus. Nothing really to talk about for them. They didn't really get a lot of big signings, of course. They did get some reclamation projects, I guess you could say, with like Mike Soroka. So that'll be interesting to see what he does there. But yeah, Chicago they didn't really do a whole lot of anything. So yeah, C minus here.
Yeah, didn't really do much of anything. This division is just so weak. I think pretty much everyone from the AL East, maybe not Boston, but even them, I still think could still win this division. I think all 5 teams from the AL East, the top 4 for sure, and maybe even Boston too, could win the Central. So not a lot of competing, which is good for the Tigers because if they're going to win the division, this is their year because it's wide open.
Yeah, it's definitely a wide open division for sure, and um, yeah. Here the Cleveland Guardians, they gave them a C as well. That said, the only thing that they literally said for this entire part of this article was Austin Hedges is back, baby. That's all they had to say about that. So yeah, no, Cleveland didn't really get a whole lot done this offseason, so yeah. The Detroit Tigers, they gave them a C minus. Me personally, I give them an F. Because they had a ton of money coming off the books with Miggy's retirement, and they did fuck all with it. I mean, seriously, the
Yeah.
Tigers did fuck all. We are spending less money this year with more players added to the team, and the best you can give me is Kenta Maeda. I mean, no, no. And Jack Flaherty, no, just no. I mean, Kenta Maeda's fine. Flaherty, you can fucking forget it though. And to
Nah,
not
I think
get,
Flaherty's all right.
I think he's just a little overrated, and they're paying him way too much for what we have him for or for what he's worth. And then the other thing it is too is they didn't sign any good bats. I mean, they could have used a Matt Chapman or a J.D. Martinez, but they got fuck, what's his name now? I can't even fucking remember. To play third base.
Gio Urshela.
Yeah, Gio Urshela. I mean, Gio's fine, but come on, man. Matt Chapman or JD Martinez would have been a hell of a lot better pickup for the Tigers to at least get this offense going, man.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I can't give them an F. An F is you literally did nothing. They at least did something. Like, yeah, they didn't go out and grab the top, one of the top 10 names, but Kenta Maeda's fine. I think Flaherty's fine, especially for like a fourth or fifth starter. Um, and then Gio Urshela, just getting him on that cheap of a deal, I think is nice. But yeah, I wish we would have done more. But I think like C minus what they had was pretty much fine. We did something, but we could have done a lot more.
Yeah, a ton more. I mean, like I said, we're spending less money than we were last year. So I mean, like it's frustrating because I want to see this offense do something, and we haven't added anything to the offense at all. So yeah, Kansas City Royals here. They got them as a B. Bobby Witt's extension, I think, definitely helps with that. That he signed this offseason. I think that helps Kansas City long term. Outside of that, they didn't really get a lot of pickups. I mean, Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo to help in that pitching rotation. I think it was that was very good because they lacked a lot of pitching last year. So I think Kansas City will definitely benefit from those two signings as well.
Yeah, I mean, the big move was, of course, the Bobby Witt signing, locking him up long term. I think it's good. Kansas City, though, I still think is going to be in the dumpster. They still got a lot more to do, but uh, yeah, but locking up their big star, I think, was definitely very smart.
Yeah, definitely. And then lastly here for the AL Central, the Minnesota Twins get a C. Um, yeah, I mean they bled out a lot of players. Losing Sonny Gray and Kenta Maeda and Tyler Mail or Molly, however the fuck he pronounces that. Yeah, they didn't really pick up anything important. They lost some, not necessarily super important key players either, but I think honestly losing Kenta Maeda might have been the worst thing that they lost this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, um, not getting him back hurts. Not the biggest loss, but again, still a loss. And with that, the Twins have left this division open. Like They aren't that dominant, man. Like they are easily beatable. If the Tigers, their young stars, start clicking, and Javi Baez doesn't bring our team down like he has been, I think we got a good dark horse shot to win this division.
Yeah, if we can keep Baez in the dugout the entire game, the Tigers can win this division. I mean, it's simple math, really. Moving over to the AL West, they gave the Houston Astros a B minus here. $95 million commitment to Josh Hader definitely helped things in the bullpen. They also gave Altuve an extension. They did lose Martin Maldonado, who I think is one of the best defensive catchers in the game. I mean, just as a catcher, he's really, really good. As a batter, he's pretty damn good as well. But I think just his ability to frame pitches, I think they might miss that a little bit. But outside of that, I mean, yeah, Astros had a really, really good offseason.
Yeah, they did, man. Getting Josh Hader, locking up Altuve. Still don't like their team. Still don't think I will ever be a Astros fan, at least until a new generation of players fully comes up with this team. But can't lie, they always are doing something to stay relevant.
Yeah, always staying relevant, and it sucks because I really don't want to see Houston keep being good, but you know, here I am with an owner that wants to keep spending less and less money every year. So fuck you, Chris Ilitch. Anyways, the Los Angeles Angels, they gave him a D here. Artie Moreno, he one of the worst owners in baseball for sure. I mean, I don't think he really cares about the Angels. I really, really don't.
Nah. So what grade did they get again?
So they did. He threw a bunch of money at Blake Snell, but it doesn't really matter because you refuse to pay Shohei. So that's why they're getting the D pretty much. Because he'll throw a bunch of money at Blake Snell, but you wouldn't throw money at the best player maybe ever in baseball.
Losing Shohei Ohtani, they deserve an F, bro. Like, you lost Ohtani, bro. Literally the biggest name in baseball, the guy with the biggest contract in North American sports history. You lost him to free agency. That's an F. No matter what you did in the offseason. And what the Angels do, not jack shit. Their pitching still sucks. It sucked for the last 15 years. They still are wasting Mike Trout's career there.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how Mike Trout has put up with it. I mean, he's literally broken his back for this team. I'd give them an F personally. Speaking of Fs, here's another one: the Oakland A's. Didn't do jack shit. They just they're not spending money. They're spending money on a new stadium for Las Vegas, but that's years away from even being built. So, the A's can't do anything, and this team is poverty and will forever be poverty. The Seattle Mariners, an A minus. Luke Raleigh definitely was a very nice ad, especially at shortstop. Mitch Haniger and Mitch Garver should definitely help them as well. So, this was a really, really strong offseason for the Mariners, who can very easily win this division, considering that you have Oakland and the Angels in here. But they do have to compete with both teams in Texas. But I don't honestly see how the Mariners couldn't win this division.
Yeah, I really like the Mariners. I'm shocked that their grade was that high. But when you think about it, they just add some good pieces. It didn't seem like they were making a lot of big moves, but when you kind of add them up, they kind of do add up to some nice moves for them. I'd love to see their team do well. I love Julio Rodriguez. and a lot of other aspects of that team. But yeah, just competing with the Astros and the Rangers is gonna be tough.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of the Rangers, they gave them here a B minus. Tyler Molly, you know, is a decent pickup there because especially given the fact that DeGrom and Scherzer will both be missing the first half of the season, so that's definitely going to help their pitching lineup for sure. Um, and yeah, they didn't have to do much this year because that lineup is so good already. And if Evaldi can stay healthy, I could honestly see the Rangers taking this division again.
Yeah, I'm. It's gonna be curious to see what the Rangers do after they just won the World Series. Uh, Again, love to see what they can do, and I think B minus is fine. They made some moves, but didn't really do anything crazy. So yeah, like that B minus C plus range, perfect for him.
Yeah, I mean they didn't have to do anything too crazy either because of all the long-term contracts that they have on that team already. So didn't and they made small moves that will help in big ways. I think. Moving to the National League, we'll start here in the NL East. Atlanta, a B minus. Um, they they didn't have to really make big moves, and they really didn't. Though they picked up Chris Sale from Boston, out of free agency, and then they also acquired Jared Kelenic. Very deep, like he's a reclamation prospect or project, not prospect, for them, and I think that could. I mean, they could definitely turn his career around. I mean, look at what they did with Grossman when the Tigers traded him. I mean, he immediately started playing better, especially as a batter. So I mean, Atlanta, they know what they're doing when it comes to developing bats and also uh, you know fixing bats, I guess if you want to call it, for lack of better terms. So yeah, I like this. They didn't need to make a big splash because their team is just so dominant already in this division. So yeah, I like this grade out of B minus.
Yeah, I like it too. They got the veteran Chris Sale, and they're good at turning players around. It seems like so. Yeah, I like that grade for him.
So the next here is the Miami Marlins. Um, they get an F on this, and I completely agree. They're going to be without Alcantara all season long, and they did fuck all to replace him. They also lost Jorge Soler to free agency, um, and yeah, their biggest move this offseason was hiring Peter Bendix to run baseball operations. So I mean, yeah, Miami did fuck all this season, and they desperately need need help everywhere. And yeah, like I said, they did fuck all this offseason. So yeah, an F for sure.
Yep, they didn't do anything. Again, a team that just did nothing. I mean, at least they didn't lose the best player in baseball like the Angels did, but still didn't do nothing.
Yeah, it was sad. Another F in this division, the New York Mets. Um, they didn't do anything again. They did sign Luis Severino and Sean Manaea. Um, and they did trade out or no, and they signed Adrian Hauser as well, so that kind of helps their fill out their rotation. But yeah, they didn't really do fucking anything this offseason, so yeah, an F for sure.
Yeah, another one just didn't do anything. F.
That said, also we might see Pete Alonso get traded during the season, so be
Yeah, it's gonna
interesting
be
to watch that one for sure. The Philadelphia Phillies, they get a C plus. Um, they re-signed Aaron Nola to a 7-year, $172 million contract, but that is what it is. Um, Obviously, they made a bid, and they made actually the highest bid to pay Yamamoto, but Yamamoto ended up going to the Dodgers anyways because that's one of the only 4 teams in baseball that apparently matters anymore. Um, but yeah, really, the Phillies didn't really do a whole lot. I think really the best thing of their offseason again was that Aaron Nola signing, and that was really about it.
Yeah, I mean, made a bid to get another big player, but other than that, Phillies didn't really do much.
And then lastly, for the NL East, the Washington Nationals, they get an F. Um, they haven't won 71 games since 2019 when they won the World Series. That's wild to think a
Yeah,
team won the World Series and then never won more than 71 games since then. That's yeah. Um, the they the Lerner family didn't sell the team um like they were going to. Um, they didn't make any significant moves. I mean, they added Joey Gallo and Dylan Floro, but that was really it. The Nationals did fuck all this offseason besides those 2 very small signings.
Yep, Nationals going to be at the bottom of the league again.
I still think Oakland's gonna outdo them, man. I really do. I can't.
Yeah,
I
I
can't.
think so too, but
I can't even name. The Nationals will be the bottom of the NL. That's for sure. So moving to the NL Central. Now this article was written 5 days ago. So I'd actually boost up this grade, but they gave the Cubs a D+. I think now with adding Bellinger,
Bellinger.
they probably a B- to a B. But they gave him a D+ here, because they, obviously, their biggest signing was Bellinger, who's back in Chicago, back for the Cubs. They didn't really do a whole lot else, but they said that they were going to be spenders this year, and well, they finally spent getting Bellinger back in Chicago. So outside of that, um, they did sign Hector Neris. I forgot about that. So that's a pretty decent signing, especially for their bullpen, which wasn't really that good last year. So I think getting Hector Neris in there will definitely bolster that bullpen a bit.
Yeah, he definitely will. He'll booster that bullpen um, but yeah, Bellinger coming back is definitely going to be big. He could have a really solid season for sure. And even though he was already on the team, and it's just a re-signing. Still nice to see him coming back because he was, if not like, he was definitely one of the biggest names left in the free agent market. Like we still are waiting on Blake Snell, and we're waiting on a few others, but Cody Bellinger was at the top of the list as well.
Yeah, that was it was a very good signing for them. So yeah, I'd give them more than a D+ now. But again, this was written before the signing, and at the time it was very understandable D+ until then. The Cincinnati Reds a B+. They basically reinvented their entire pitching staff this offseason. Frankie Montes, Nick Martinez, Emilio Pagan, Brent Suter, and Buck Farmer. They also signed Jamer Candelario to replace the very, very old Joey Votto. I don't know why he was still playing the last, like 6-7 years. I mean, he's old as shit. So, yeah, the Cincinnati Reds, they spent $108 million this offseason, man. I mean, they are mad that they missed the or the postseason by just 2 games last year. They definitely helped themselves a ton this offseason.
Yeah, they did, man. I can't wait to watch Cincinnati. 2 of my favorite young players, Ellie De La Cruz, of course, and Matt McClain. I think that they have superstar potential for sure. Ellie's already showed it. Matt McLean's put up crazy numbers as well, coming up through the system. Cincinnati's going to be pretty good. I think that they have a good chance to make a wild card spot here.
Yeah, they definitely do. I think they might even be competitive in this division this year. I really, really do. I mean, they have to compete with the St. Louis Cardinals, and I think that's really all they have for competition this year. Um, and so they can definitely get themselves into the playoffs this year. It's just a matter of how well can this revived pitching staff can do for them. Moving on here, the Milwaukee Brewers, they gave them a C plus. Um, Losing Corbin Burns, of course, in that trade with Baltimore definitely, uh, you know, hurt them a little bit. But I don't think overall they did too terrible. Um, they who did they add? They did add Reese Hoskins, so pretty decent there. Um, but they definitely have to rely on their prospect pool right now. I think because they didn't sign any big names, so um, yeah, C plus. I think that's worthy for them.
Man, I'd probably go a little bit lower. I'd probably go like C minus for him. I can't wait to see what Jackson Churio has in store. He's one of my favorites as well coming up. But yeah, losing Corbin Burns tough.
Yeah, but they did get a decent haul out of it, but nothing too flashy. I mean, like I said, they never got any of the top prospects from Baltimore, so yeah. The Pittsburgh Pirates, they get a D minus. They this line basically sums up the Pittsburgh Pirates offseason perfectly. The Pirates keep showing improvement, but their progress is painfully slow. And it's painful to be a Pirates fan in general. But that said, they they signed Ardolis Chapman to a 1 year, $10.5 million contract. So that's nice, but they didn't really add um, much else. And yeah, a D minus for sure. Chapman's good, but I just now I don't see um, how Pittsburgh's really going to improve much upon what they were last year.
Yeah, I think they have a lot of good prospects. Paul Skeens is going to come up eventually. He's the number one pick in the draft. Earl Chapman, he's a good veteran, but he's also a hothead, and he's had some off the field issues as well. So he could be a locker room problem as well. But uh, I think D minus is fair. I mean, Earl Chapman's a legendary, like older closer who he's definitely not as good as he once was in his prime, but he can definitely still, you know, give you some innings, and hopefully their young talent can pan out and maybe look towards the future in that. But yeah, this off season, not much going on.
Yeah, shout out Paul Skeens. He's poking Livy Dunn. Anyways, St. Louis Cardinals are next. They're at a B minus this year. They their president John. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his fucking last name. Fuck that. But he promised they would add 3 starting pitchers, and yeah, they delivered on that. Sonny Gray, Kyle Gibson, and Lance Lynn. Very very good signings. They needed help in their starting rotation, and boy, they definitely got it there, especially with Sonny Gray. I think, both these guys are older, or all 3 of these guys are older, but they all still are very, very good pitchers. Especially, I think, like I said, Sonny Gray. He's a little bit younger than both Lynn and Gibson, but outside of this, yeah, they didn't do a whole lot much else, but they definitely got 3 actual starting pitchers on the Cardinals.
Yeah, so they get Lance Lynn back. He was a former Cardinal. Sonny Gray. He's been bouncing around, but he's super reliable and also low risk as well. So, um, yeah, I think it's a really good, solid offseason for the Cardinals there.
Yeah, very, very solid for sure. And then lastly, to the NL West, Arizona Diamondbacks, A minus. Um, Nice pickup, Eduardo Rodriguez. I'm pissed off as a Tigers fan about that because he said he didn't want to play on the West Coast, and then here he goes to go play on the
Yeah.
fucking West Coast. We could have traded you to, a team out there, but yeah, no, he decided to go fuck the team, and yeah, Scott Harris did fuck that all up, but still. Um, Anyways, they re-signed Gurriel Jr. Um, they picked up Eugenio Suarez in a trade. Um, they picked up Randall Grichuk and Jock Pedersen. For a nice DH rotation for them. They had a sneaky good offseason this year. I think I would give them an A+ personally.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go that high. I'd probably go. I'd probably go A. I think Uh, they did really good. For sure here. Could always be a little bit better, but definitely one of the better teams for sure here.
Yeah, definitely. The Colorado Rockies, they got an F. They didn't pick up any free agents. Um, they made a couple very small trades. Um, they picked up Cal Quantrill from Cleveland, and well, that was really about it. Yeah, no, the Rockies, they are poverty right now, and they're going to continue to be poverty for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, Rockies are just they ain't it, man. Uh, just tough scene, man.
The Dodgers got an A
A
plus.
plus.
Yep.
Yeah,
They're spending
best offseason in history.
$1.2 billion on players. Billion with
Yep.
a B.
Mm-hmm.
$1.2 billion on players. Obviously, they picked up the best player in baseball, Shohei Ohtani. They also picked up Yamamoto and Tyler Glasnow as well. They also picked up Teoscar Hernandez and James Paxton. I mean, it doesn't matter because they're still going to choke in the playoffs because it's the Dodgers. But man, I just this is why the league needs a salary cap desperately, man. $1.2 billion. That is insane. I just the league needs a salary cap and they need it really really fast, man.
Yeah, they do, man. I mean, it's A plus. It's the best offseason in league history. I have to look back, but I mean, at least in recent history, within the last 10 years. I mean, when was the last time the best player in baseball signed with a new team? I mean, Trout had the opportunity to do that, and never did. He stayed with the Angels. I can't think of a time in my lifetime when the number one player in baseball signed with another team. Uh, and like I said, he's getting that contract. Plus, you get the best foreign player in Yamamoto from Japan. Those Japanese players always seem to hit, man. You get him for uh, it was over a 10-year deal, I believe, for 300 million. And you add solid pieces like Glass now, Teoscar Hernandez. Yeah, they knocked it out, man. You can't say anything less. I mean, but the only thing is now, like you said, with choking, like it's World Series or bust. They have no other option but to win. That's their floor is winning the World Series.
Yeah, if they don't win the World Series, man, they are that's disappointing. That's a $1.2 billion down the drain to not win the World Series. I mean, that is ridiculous. San Diego Padres, they give them a D. Yeah, you trade away Juan Soto. You let Blake Snell go. Josh Hader, Seth Lugo, Nick Martinez. I mean, you just letting all these guys go. Their best signing was Yuki I no Japanese names. Um, they yeah, not a lot of big moves for San Diego, and well, big moves coming in, big moves going out. Oh fuck yeah, bud. Definitely had a lot of players leave.
Yep, they lost Juan Soto. I mean, that's devastating. I mean, they only had him for like what, a year maybe. Uh, so it wasn't there long, but still, you literally traded for Juan Soto, and then now he's gone. So, uh, yeah, I don't think it was worth giving up C.J. Abrams, one of your top prospects, for like a year and a half of Juan Soto. But yeah, Padres, man, I loved their team, but now they look like they're on the downfall, man.
Yeah, they really, really do. And lastly, here the San Francisco Giants. They gave them a B. Um, could not get Otani, could not get Yamamoto, couldn't get Bellinger, couldn't get Blake Snell. Um, their best signing was Jung Ho Lee. Good, solid Korean center fielder. They signed him to a 6-year, $113 million deal. Um, and they did pick up Jorge Soler as well, and they did get Robbie Ray, who's kind of on a downward trend in his career now, considering his age. But he's still not a bad pickup. And then they also picked up Jordan Hicks as well. So yeah, I mean the Giants definitely they missed out on some really really elite players, but they still ended up picking up a lot of good players overall.
Yeah, they did. The Giants, yeah, they didn't really hit on one of their big guys, but they also made some solid moves. They definitely were a part of uh, the off season for sure, and making something happen out of nothing. But yeah, I think for them it might have been a disappointment, but overall, in the grand scheme of the league, they did all right.
Yep, they did for sure. And so that's gonna do it for baseball here. We went a lot longer than I planned to. So I'm just gonna quickly just touch on some other things I wanted to talk about, but we're just gonna slightly brush over them. The biggest one I think that I saw today, UMass is gonna be a member of the MAC, at least. Through the 2025-2026 season. No, starting the 2025-2026 season. Um, this is pretty big for them. Um, they I don't believe they were actually in a conference for football the last couple of years. So um, they but the MAC presidents basically got together, voted to invite UMass on Monday, and um, yeah, they UMass had already previously applied to the MAC, so I think this definitely helps UMass for sure. Finally, being part of a conference. I know they were also talking with the Conference USA teams, but UMass apparently made more geographic sense for them. So yeah, that's nice for the MAC, and nice for UMass for sure. Any thoughts on that for that?
Man, all I think about when I think of UMass is the Drip King, man. If you guys know social media content, he's a lacrosse player for UMass, and I always love his content. He's very open and about his faith, and he's a pretty funny dude too. But I don't really have any strong opinion on them moving to the MAC.
No, it's nice to see them finally in a conference because yeah, they weren't in a conference. So yeah, a couple other small things. Like I mentioned, the combine started this week. I think today was mostly just like press conferences and interviews and shit like that. There's some interesting things that both Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes said today for Lions fans. But outside of that, yeah, nothing really important. But we will talk a little bit more about it on Thursday for sure. And then lastly, last thing I really want to talk about is Casey Mize for the Tigers threw some pitches for the first time. Well, MLB pitches for the first time since April of 2022. Obviously, coming off of Tommy John surgery, which the Tigers fucked up. They could have had him the back half of last year if they would have given him the surgery immediately in April when he needed it, instead of waiting till like August or September in 2022. But I digress. He threw less than 2 full innings, but he was throwing hard. I mean, his fastball was his fastest pitch that he threw was over 97 miles an hour. So it's good to see. He said he still needs to kind of work on his control because he said the velocity came back to him quick. It's just getting things still under a little bit control. But he said by the time the season starts, he said he should be ready. So that's very, very good for him. So yeah, that's gonna do it for us. March Madness is coming up right around the corner, so we're gonna we'll keep an eye on that once it starts to come up. Trade deadline for the NHL is next Friday, so in a couple weeks we'll definitely talk about everything that happened at the trade deadline on that following Tuesday's episode. But yeah, anyways, guys, rate, review, subscribe, help us out. Let us know what more you want to see from us. Today was very, very deep for baseball, of course. And opening day is just around the corner, man. So I'm excited for that for sure. I know you are as well. And so yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you guys on Thursday.